Well, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Cody Coda. I've got a special guest today. Niki, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Niki Higgins. I'm the broker owner of Lifestyle Realty in Oklahoma City.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show here, Niki. So how did you get into the business?
I started, I was a vocal music teacher for many, many years, and I'd always liked real estate. And when I found myself getting, sometimes you say old and cranky, kids are incredibly important thing, and teaching is a very important aspect of everything. So when it became harder and harder to really find in myself the way to inspire them and get them on board with what we were doing, decided it was time for me to step away. I wanted to be that teacher that they said she was really good, not she used to be good. So I'd always loved real estate. And so I just decided that was another way to use my skills. I like to educate and teach and nurture. So I moved to real estate.
All right. Been rocking and rolling ever since. So music teacher. Yeah, that makes me think back to a lot of the agents. Some of the best agents I know started off as in the teaching world. So coincidentally enough, that's pretty cool.
It's a good fit, I think, for many.
Yeah. So how long have you been in the business and real estate?
I just celebrated my 20th year in real estate last month in April.
Congratulations. Wow.
Thank you.
Lots of wisdom comes with those 20 years. Every year, you probably run into something, right, that you learn from.
It's been this long there. We've had a lot of changes since I started.
Yeah, I would say that, just thinking that, knowing, in our business, there's at least something I grow every year, knowing it, and just thinking of being in business for 20 years, how much knowledge you have. It's pretty impressive.
Right.
So how many like agents or offices do you lead, just so kind of the viewers have an idea of your perspective?
I'm actually just an independent brokerage. When I started it, it was really just kind of to get out on my own and be there. And I've had agents just asked to come with me. So right now I have one office and I have two independent agents with me.
Awesome. And so how did you transition from just being an agent to actually being a broker? That's probably what a lot of people are wondering. Like, how does one make that leap? What was that transition like for you?
It was a little bit of a slow leap. I'm being an educator. I always kind of look at things thinking the more perspective you can have and the more sides you can see to a puzzle, the better outcome you can get. So I jumped in and started, the usual designations, GRI, CRS, SRS, all of those types of things. But I thought the broker side was another interesting piece to the puzzle, because for every angle that I must look at it as an independent agent, a broker has probably 10, 20 times the angles to look at. So I wanted to know how they were thinking, what their responsibilities were, and what it meant to be a broker. I got my broker's license, probably 5 or 6 years after I'd gotten my agent's license, and I didn't really plan on ever having a brokerage, but I was with a small company. As it grew a little bit, I took on some different duties. Actually was broker for a little, just short windows as the owner broker needed things. And then at one point, about 6 years ago, I decided, it's time just do things a little bit differently. And so I just went out on my own just to kind of decide what I wanted to do.
Well, it sounds like you had always kind of pursued that higher education path, and it just kind of prepared you for you having to step into those new roles or path that you found yourself on. That's pretty cool. So what were some of the early struggles or wins? I'm sure there's probably a lot of skill sets that are parallel to maybe some of your previous history. So what were some of the things that were like, hey, easy skill transfers for you? What were some of the areas that you're like, man, I really needed to skill up? And so what were those things, and where did you find those resources in order to skill up?
Well, the people skills and the understanding and asking questions and things like that was pretty much there. with fine tuning. But the tools to use for really reaching out to people, finding people, learning how to connect with people that you don't know, all of those things were areas that I had no experience with. I had a captive audience when my students walked into the classroom, and so learning how to attract buyers and sellers, learning who I might best fit with. Those were some really important skills that I needed to work on early.
Gotcha. No, for you as an agent, this is one of the things that, as we're visiting with more and more offices, it's interesting to kind of take the look at your business as an agent. And then when you go into the brokerage, in terms of what I mean by your business, of like how you're generating your business, right? And taking that from an agent to now you're leading an office, like what your office is doing in terms of generating business. Did you find kind of an easy transfer? Hey, these were the tools that I was successful as an agent, and you kind of led your office in that direction? Or were there other areas where it's like, hey, maybe you didn't even work certain prospects or certain areas of the market, but then when you became a broker, you kind of took on more of those other areas to bring in business? Or did it all stay the same?
Right. No, when I left, the brokerage that I was with had a very definite set of marketing tools and things that were and still are very well known in the metro. And as the years had gone by, I had become just immersed in working those systems and being like the listing broker and the things like this. So, and when I went out on my own, I had to reinvent things. I had my personal business that came with me, but that had been really maybe marginalized, had been minimized because I was so busy on the other stuff. So when I started the brokerage, I had to really think, how do I actually go back to reconnecting with my people that I know, and truthfully finding a whole new avenue of clients and who might I like best to serve.
You've been doing it very well. How would you describe your management style or philosophy as a broker?
Mine is kind of I don't know what the term would be, but I look to actually draw out the strengths in my agents, and I want to be the support for them to be able to find the tools and provide tools that they need so that they can take their business wherever they want to go. I don't want to just have the answer, because if someone can call you up and tell you what to do, but if you figure it out yourself, and maybe through collaboration and discussion, you can come up with a better plan, it will help you grow. So my goal is to try to make everyone absolutely as successful in whatever avenue in real estate that they want to be.
I like that. That's good. So did you decide to go the franchise route or not? And then why or why not when you opened your office?
When I opened my office, I didn't had no real interest, truthfully, not knowing how I wanted to go or what I wanted to do. And I've never really had the idea of having a 200 agent office. The franchise did not seem to be cost effective. And I think they're wonderful tools, and I have not a thing against franchises, but I was really just thinking I want to just go out and figure out what I want to do on myself, and maybe market the principles and ideas that I think are important.
No, that makes sense. Aristotle, know thyself. You kind of had to find who you were in your way first before you start taking on a lot of stuff. That makes a lot of sense to me. So in your opinion, like, what does it take to be a successful broker?
I think you have to be very analytical, and I think you have to be able to step out of the box and kind of look at it from above. As for everything that an agent has to analyze and look at for their personal business, as a broker, you've got everyone's well-being in your hands, kind of, and you must be able to look and see what systems are working, what avenues are working, what do we need to change, what am I doing right, what am I doing wrong, where can I go and find the tools and the people that I need because obviously no broker knows it all, and none of us have all the skills that we need.
No, I think you're 100% right on that. You're hitting the nail right on the head. Your perspective, I think is key. You mentioned that it's a different perspective as a broker when you're looking at a transaction or you're looking at a situation. You're trying to get the perspective of everybody that's involved in it. I think you articulated that very well. Wow. Okay, so what would you say are your least favorite aspects of the job, Niki? And then what are some of your favorite ones?
Paperwork is my least. It literally sucks the life out of me. Compliance and things like that are just not my deal. My DISC profile consistently says that I'm detail oriented and all this, and I would make a great assistant. And I'm not sure what questions I'm answering wrong on that, because that's the furthest thing. So that's the life out of me. But the interaction with agents and clients, but broker level agents, and watching them grow and mature and see their business flourish, that's my favorite part.
That's great. So what does your support system look like today, and does that differ from whenever you first got into the business? I know a lot of folks probably don't start off at your level. They probably move their way up, so to speak. But what does that look like in terms of either people or systems that you put in place to help support your team there?
The system now is we are expanding. We've added some really fine, I think, coaching programs for our new agents and for our agents, experienced agents alike, and are adding transaction management and things like this, so that when it was done, when I opened, everyone did their own, which everyone needs to do their own, because you need to know what you've got to do. But then I was actually the one that did it. And so now that's not the best use of my time or my skill set. So we have partnered with some companies to do some things and added some things. We're looking to grow and shift our line just a little bit.
Awesome. I love it. So if you wanted to maybe dispel some misconceptions, I know there's probably a lot of them floating out there, but of what it is to be a broker. I think a lot of people may have, in their mind one view of it, but if you were to kind of, dispel any of those misconceptions for everybody, what would you want to tell folks?
Well, I'd say it's probably a lot harder than some people think. It requires many hours, even with good support and wonderful team members. It doesn't necessarily mean there's a lot of money to be made there. You have to be really smart, and that it's maybe shorter hours than when you were an agent.
All right. What about your favorite piece of technology or your favorite tool that you would not be caught without it running your business?
I am not a terribly techie person, but it would have to be my phone. You can really pretty much do everything you have to do on your phone with a few apps. And so I would say my phone.
Great answer. Yeah, that's definitely one of the most popular ones we've had was, the telephone. That's how I built my business. So market prediction. So this is a fun one. So with, the market we're in, first question, have you ever seen a market like we're in right now?
No, I really haven't. I tell people that we look like, on a smaller scale, but we look like California and what the coasts have looked like for years. And the things that we are doing with buyers or working through appraisal, things like that are unprecedented in my 20 years. That doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but I've never been a part of this. So it is very, very different than anything I've seen. Mm. And I've been through 8 and 2011, all kinds.
Yes, that's why I'm excited to have you on, is to kind of get the answer to this next question, because I know with that experience comes a lot of, abilities, as I like to say, you can almost kind of see around corners. So if you were to kind of predict like what's going to happen, like what would be Niki's kind of prediction of like what's going on now, kind of a summary in your mind, and then where is it going, when this is done?
It's going to change. I mean,
constant, right?
The reality is, my crystal ball went to the shop and it never came back. And I don't know. I don't anticipate that we're going to have any, the kind of crash that, in 2008, 2009, that was a totally different time on so many levels. So I wouldn't anticipate that. I do think at some point we will get more inventory. That's what's our problem right now, I think, is our lack of inventory. And people that would like to sell are concerned about selling because they don't know that they'll be able to find something to move to. So we're kind of at this loggerjam. But I think it's going to swing, the other direction. We will have a buyer's market again at some point in time. Don't know how quickly it will be, but it will moderate. And again, I don't think we're going to have a crazy crash. I think there's a lot of things that are keeping demand up, and there's, a true demand for homes. So that all I can say with certainty is it will change.
It'll change. Yeah. So do you feel like when the market changes again, it's going to be business as usual for your agents and brokers, or do you anticipate them needing to skill up in any way, or how do you see life for the average agent and broker after this?
I think agents are always going to have to skill up because, this is no matter what the market, whether it's a great buyer's market, a seller's market, kind of just a middle of the road market that, you can go look at a house 2-3 times and then negotiate an offer that everyone's happy for. This is an important, complex financial transaction. And it's very often, one of the largest transactions that this individual or family will make. And you need to know as an agent everything, as much as you can know, to provide them the best guidance and counsel and help navigate through the process. So I don't think there's any way that you would ever.
Wow, great answer. Okay, so this is a fun one. So what piece of advice would you be given to any agent, or let's say even a broker, maybe some advice for an agent right now coming into the business, or maybe just in the business, and same thing for maybe an agent that's becoming a broker, or maybe a broker that's just existing. What advice would you want to pass down to these guys?
As an agent, I would tell you to spend more time looking at the personalities. Well, personalities may not be a good word, but the mentors that will be available wherever you go to put your license, because you want to make sure that you fit with their philosophy and that they have time for you, or a system that allows you to learn and grow and have your questions answered. Many of the fact you see some of the Facebook groups out there, and it's, so I've got this and I've got this and I've got this. And, the answer is go ask your broker. As one of our favorite all-time brokers used to always say, ask your broker. You need to find someone that you feel like you can go and ask a question and will get help. The other thing I would say is a new one is set your business up as a business from the very beginning. This is the easiest time to do it when you're not busy, figuring out how you're going to keep in contact with clients when you get them, how to reach out to people that know, love you, and want to support you, and let them know what you're doing, and get all of these things in place so that you can develop really good habits early while you're not busy, because you will get busy, and then that will support you throughout. One more thing I would say is figure out, and this is something I did not do well and I still struggle with, is you've got to figure out how to set boundaries, because real estate is important and it's big, but there's not much you can solve short of maybe water running out of one of your listings in a vacant house in the middle of the night. So you need to know how to allow time for yourself and your family and recharge yourself.
That's really good advice on all fronts. I remember one of my broker when I got into the business, she had told me was be careful where you get your advice. I think that right hand in hand with a lot of stuff that you're saying of being able to identify that broker, and then what is it? You rise to fall to the level of your systems or habits. I think is one of the sayings that goes right into align with what you're saying there, man. That's so true. So what would you be doing, Niki, if you weren't in real estate? If you could do anything, what would you be doing?
I don't really know. I thought about that. It would probably still be in some capacity to help people grow or accomplish something they want to do. I don't see myself retiring anytime soon. I'm older than a lot of people out there, but that just doesn't appeal to me. Sitting on the beach, or I just got back from the beach. I'm not going to say I love going to the beach, but sitting on the couch eating bonbons, watching something is just not my idea of fun. So I would want to be out there feeling like I'm making a difference and hopefully staying a little bit relevant.
I'm better when I'm serving. Yeah, that's awesome. Very good. Well, Niki, I appreciate you having coming on the show here with us. Was there anything else you wanted to let the viewers know? You guys have got a lot of good things going on. Maybe kind of some upcoming projects, and maybe where the viewers, buyers or sellers and agents can find you if they want some great service.
Sure. I'd love to talk with. Like I say, when we started, it was just kind of getting out to settle out and see what to do, but I'm looking to kind of to grow and expand and find other agents that I can support in their process, both in make them better realtors and have better businesses. But you can call me on my cell phone. That's 405-919-8. State tax form. Got that actually by luck when I first got my, so call me or text me at any time.
There you go. It's always a pleasure having you on and visiting with you. So once again, thank you so much.
I appreciate the opportunity to come and visit. Thank you so much.